everyone, it's Sarah, and welcome back if you've come before, and welcome for the first time if you've never watched Coffee and Crochet with Sarah. I so appreciate you tuning in, whether you're here on Facebook or whether you're here on YouTube. And just a quick reminder that every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, because I live south of Denver in a little city. Well, it's not little anymore, it's growing like crazy, in a city called Parker, Colorado. And so we're on Mountain Time. And so if you don't know what time that is in your area, just Google it. What time is 9:30 a.m. in Denver, in Wisconsin, or Indiana, you know, or maybe Germany, because I know I get some people who watch from overseas on YouTube. If you want to watch the video live, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And then, of course, I love my Facebook peeps and I love my YouTube peeps. And I'm using the word peeps because it's Easter. And if you don't know what peeps are, I don't know what to say. Well, hello everyone. I'm Sarah, and this is take 2 on our live video today. It seems I had a little trouble connecting and staying connected. I'm not really sure why or what happened, but everything just froze up on me. So, if you're tuning back in, I hope you will. And I hope everything goes good this time. It was a little weird. So, welcome to Coffee and Crochet with Sarah, take 2. You know, when you're doing a regular video and things happen, you can just click it over and just start over. But I don't know what happened. It just froze up, and Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, things will go fine today. So let's go ahead and clinkety clink, clink, clink for the second time. And welcome back, everybody. You know what? I learned a long time ago, there's no use getting upset. Just keep going and keep trying. And you know what? If it didn't work out in the end, I can still do a video and post it if I had to. All right, now let's get back to what we're going to do today. We're going to do a Mary Maxim unboxing, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how to read yarn labels. Because after last week's video, I got lots of questions about, well, what does this symbol mean? And why is this on there? And things like that. All right, so let's get going. All righty, so this is the box that I received from Mary Maxim, and I'm super excited about it. And it's really a nice big box. I'm going to move out a little bit just because I want to use that screen. Because as I pull them out, I want to show them to you up close, okay? So, I'm going to open up the box. And the first thing that I find is some really neat patterns. I've got a Mary Maxim side-to-side baby blanket. And I'm going to put it down here real quick and show you on this other camera. Here's this pattern. Isn't that neat? Okay. Here's another pattern, shaded table topper. And this one is a little bit of a booklet. Then there's a knitting pattern that's a leafy yoke dress. I love these because they're kind of like booklets. And then there's a couple in here from Red Heart. Here's how to do some planned pooling. And here's another one. Isn't that super cute? Rubber Ducky Scrubby. So when you order yarn from Mary Maxim, you also get some fun patterns, which I think is a really cool idea, because when you get yarn in, sometimes you don't know what to do with it. And if they give you something like that to do, then you can test out the pattern. All right, let me grab my scissors. I want to be very careful. So I have to cut open a plastic bag. I don't want to nick any of my yarn. There we go. All right, now this one is one I'm super excited about. It's called Kapatashi Batik. I don't even know how to say that. It's an awesome yarn. It's super soft. Okay, it says it's made in Turkey. Let's go back down here, because I got 3 of those. 1, 2. Oh, I guess oh, there it is. Here we go. 3 of those. I don't have a lot of room on my table, so I'm trying to be... All right, who knows how to say that? Kapatashika Batik. Okay, so isn't that an interesting yarn? I've never seen it before. 100% acrylic. There's my lot numbers. Made in Turkey. And this one doesn't have a lot of information, but it does give you information here. And we're going to talk about what all this means in just a little bit. And this feels like a number 4, but I don't see that on there. It says number 3, 4. So they rate things the same way I do. It's a 3.5 or a 4. And this one it's a thin 4, but it doesn't feel as thin as a 3. And that's beautiful baby yarn. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so that's one. Then I also got this. This is a scrubby yarn, which I already have some. And it's really interesting and different. And so I got another one of those. All right, now I got this blue yarn. And I don't know what it is. I'm going to stick it down over here so we can look at it together. This is so fun. I love doing unboxings. Okay, so this is, set those 3 there so you can see them, called Super Soft. It's 80 acrylic and 20 polyamide. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Okay. Oh, it's so soft. Yeah, this is a number 2, it says. Super soft. It's a beautiful blue color. Isn't that pretty? It's like a soft blue. All right, so there's that one. Wow, there is a bunch of yarn in here. All right, let me pull out these next 3. This looks like a chunky yarn. I'm going to go ahead and set it over here. There we go. This is a chunky yarn. This looks like a German yarn. Let's see. 100% acrylic there. Wow, that's a really pretty yarn. It's a really thick yarn. I'm going to grab one of these so I can read it. Oh, it's so tiny I can't even hardly see it. 100% polyester. Looks like a number 6. 100 grams. Nice yarn. Isn't that pretty? Nice and thick. I got plans for that one. That one's going to be fun. All right, I've got a bunch more in here. Let's see. This is Premier. We all love Premier. This is called Toy Box. There's 3 here. 100% acrylic. Number 5. Isn't that cool colors? This would be something really great colors for fall. I think I've got an idea to what to do with that as well. All right. All right. Now I got 2 more here. 2 more types of yarn. Let's see. This is called Fair Isle Satin. This has a really interesting feel to it. All right. 100% polyester. It's a bulky 5. And then the last 3 yarns I've got in here. What, I saw something else move around. Oh, another pattern. Now we'll set that down there. And this is Bernat Softy. I love the Bernat Softy Chunky. This is a tweed. Isn't that pretty? So that's a lot of really, really fun yarns. And one thing you can do that I really, really like about Mary Maxim is they have what you call bundles. And if you need more than one, they'll send you bundles that are all the same dye lot. And Hirschner's is really good about that too. Okay, so this is not a pattern. It's actually telling me what puzzles they have. Oh, that's a pretty puzzle. Look at those. Here, we can put them over here. You know I love my puzzles. There's a couple of them. I really love it when I can get puzzles that have to do with yarn and stuff, though. That's the best. Okay. All righty. So is everyone being able to see everything? I'm sorry about the earlier problem, but that's okay. We just got started a couple minutes late and it's no problem at all. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is I got a lot of questions last week concerning yarn labels. And so we're going to click back over to the top screen. And this is just a Red Heart Super Saver. And it has a bunch of information. And I want to show you this because this is all stuff that you can use to help you be more informed and know more about the yarn that you're creating with. Okay, so we have a name, pretty in pink. We have lot numbers. And usually you can find this information for your lot number by your UPC symbol. Now, a lot of the old Red Heart yarns did not have lot numbers. But you know, Red Heart is now owned by Yarnspirations, and there are some changes in dye lots and shades and things like that. So keep that in mind if you're using an older skein of yarn. Okay, so it's a medium number 4. Then we have this box. This box is knitting information. A 10 by 10 centimeter or a 4 by 4 inch is 17 stitches and 23 rows. That's what that information around that edge is. Then it also tells you 5 millimeter or US 8 if you're using a knitting needle. Okay, now if you go to the next box, it's crochet information. A 10 by 10 centimeter or a 4 by 4 inch is 12 rows of single crochet, or I'm sorry, 12 single crochet stitches or 15 rows. And that's how you make a swatch. If you're wanting to know how the yarn works up, then it has to do with making a swatch. Okay? Then it gives you a hook inside. The American crochet hook that they suggest, and these are just suggestions, is a I9 or a 5.5 millimeter. And this is really important because a lot of the crochet hooks now have changed their measurements on them. And so make sure you do that 5.5 millimeter or whatever is suggested by the pattern that you're working on. Then you have this symbol. It says 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. And this is the temperature that you can wash that on. This one over here says no ironing. And then this one says it's okay to tumble dry. Sometimes they'll give you an X and that means that don't dry it. And then they'll show you something folded and that means it can be folded to dry. But if you don't know those symbols, Red Heart's really good about this. It says underneath what to do. Machine wash and dry. 100% acrylic. And of course this is in other languages. Then it tells you it's worsted. Medium 4 there. 7 ounces or 198 grams. Or if you prefer yards, it's 364 yards, 333 millimeters. Okay? But I want you also to notice that on the pattern that they've provided, they're using a 6 millimeter hook. And so the suggested hook size isn't always the size you're going to get or need when you're working a pattern. And I want to reiterate that because a lot of mine I do the same way. All right, so here I have a Yarnspirations Big Cake. My label's falling apart there. Okay, and so if you look where the UPC is, you'll see down here your item number and your die lot number. Here's your color, and you'll see the same symbols. I wanted to use this one because it's a lot closer the way I hold it up. You've got your medium 4, you've got your knitting information, you've got your crochet information. Here's all your washing instructions. Machine washable and dryable. That's what it's telling you. Don't iron it. You don't need to dry clean it. And if you don't understand these symbols, The best way to learn about those is in going to your garment district stuff or going to the Crochet Guild of America website. So here you've got 100% acrylic. Here's your weight, 10.5 ounces or 300 grams. And it says approximately 603 yards. And that's important because a lot of people think that a yarn cake or skein should have the exact amount that it says on it. The truth of the matter is, most of the time you get more than what it says on your yarn skein or cake. And there's a couple of reasons they do that. Number one, they want to make sure you get a yard or two extra. You know, and one thing to do is you can go online and there's several YouTube videos as well as videos. I think Red Heart, that's now Yarnspirations, has one that talks about how yarn is made, how it's dyed, because wool and acrylic and different blends are dyed differently. And they also have videos on how the yarn is spun and how it's made into these cakes and into skeins of yarn. And it's really quite interesting. And there's a lot of things you can learn there. You know, I've talked about this before and people complain because there's a knot in there. But what you need to understand is that when they roll it on these from these great big spools of yarn to skeins and cakes, sometimes the yarn ends and they have to reattach a new one. Well, when they do that, they always spin on a few more yards of yarn in order to get it going again and make sure you have what you need. So really, when you get a knot, it's actually a bonus because you're getting a little bit more yarn. And I've told people this over and over again. You can crochet or knit right over that knot if you want to, but it's not intended to hold like through the wash and things. It is a strong knot because it has to go around those spinners, but it's not intended to be left in your project. Your best bet is to do like a Russian join or fisherman's knot, something like that, that's going to hold tight, and then you can crochet over that knot. Or when you're joining it in, you know, and you pull it in through those last two loops of your remaining stitch, and then you go on and you can weave that in later. The knot really is not intended for you to crochet over or knit over. But again, you do what works best for you. So I hope that answered some of those questions. Some of the most important questions about yarn is fiber. And you're always going to get that information. It's going to tell you your percentage, if it's wool or alpaca or acrylic or cotton. It's going to tell you that on the skein. Your weight, it's always going to tell you that on the skein. And sometimes it'll be written out, but for the most part, you're going to get those little blocks. And learn about those boxes, okay? And learn what they all mean. And like I said, that information where it gives you the needle and then swatch sizes, and then it gives you the crochet hook and the swatch sizes. Whether you're knitting or crocheting, you know, if you have never used a yarn before, you can go ahead and make a swatch. And something that I do, and this is a secret, don't tell anybody, okay? It's just between me and you. When I make a swatch, I don't cut it off. I make the swatch and I measure and then I unwind it because I write it down. You know, this how many rows and this how many stitches measured this and this. And then it gives me an idea of which hook to use, because even though it gives a recommended hook or needle size, that doesn't mean that's what the designer is using. Because if I want a more open and lacy stitch, I might go up several hook sizes. And if I want a really tight stitch, because I don't want any holes whatsoever or something, depending on what I'm making, I might go down several hook sizes. So keep that in mind. Another thing to remember is when it comes to yarn sizes and hook sizes, we don't all crochet the same. We don't. We all crochet differently. And I might crochet, which I've told you this before, I crochet loosely, and you might crochet tighter. The thing is, a good example is when I made the doilies, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, mine measured 12 by 12. That's how I would like for them to be. But if you want it to be bigger and you just want a little bit, you can always go up a hook size or two and make it a little bit looser. But if you want it to be tighter and smaller, you can go down a hook size or two and make your stitches tighter and smaller. If it comes out, off a ½ inch, don't panic. It's not that big of a deal unless it needs to fit an exact size, okay? So keep those things in mind. And one thing I just really want you to understand, mistakes happen. When you're crocheting, if you make a mistake and it's 10 rows back, it's up to you whether you want to pull it out or frog it, as we say, rip it, if you want to. But if you don't want to, you can, if you say you're making a granny square and you put 2 and you were supposed to put 3, you can always go back in and add that third one and tie it off. There are things like that that you can do. Another really good example is you're supposed to have 127 or 391 double crochets, but you're off a hook, not a hook, a size. You're off a stitch. If you have one too many, you can always add an extra one on that first row. If you're, have one too many, you can always do a decrease stitch at the end of that row on your first row. I know someone said to me one time, it took so long just to get that first row right because I kept ripping it out. Well, if you kept ripping it out, you made yourself too much work because you need to work smarter, not harder. And another thing that you can do is if you've chained all those and then you go back in and your count's right, but you've got 2 chains left, just take those 2 chains out. Don't tear it all out to make that exact, because as long as your first row has the right amount of stitches, if you have too many chains, just take those 2 out. It's really quite simple. And I think sometimes we want us to be perfect. We want everything that we do to be perfect. And we need to understand that we're not going to be. But there are things that you can do to make it perfect. Okay? And so I jotted this down today. It says, it's not about being perfect. It's about being better than you were yesterday, because practice builds confidence. And we always learned growing up that practice makes perfect, but it's not ever going to be perfect. Whether you're playing an instrument or making a quilt or sewing a baby dress, there are going to be little tiny errors and little tiny things in there. Maybe you accidentally held that note too long, or maybe you hit 2 notes in between on the piano. Well, we want to be perfect. And a lot of us, not me, but a lot of us are perfectionists. My daughter, she's a perfectionist. And she's played the piano for many, many years. And she is an artist to a T in that she's a technical artist. And I know I've said this lots of times. And I'm more artsy. I will make it work. I will make it fit. I will add rows if I have to. And we need to learn that that's okay, because, as I've said a million times, crochet is an ever-increasing art that we are constantly learning. And if a person feels like they've arrived, that they know everything there is to know about crochet, they're wrong, because it's always changing. There are always new stitches and new techniques to learn, new yarns to play with, and new thicknesses, new fibers. So don't ever feel like you're not perfect, because as long as you're growing in your crochet and you're moving forward in your journey of crochet, then you are perfect. Because art's not perfect. That's why it's art. So anyway, I keep glancing over to that little symbol that came up a while ago that said, something's wrong, we've stopped filming. I can't remember exactly what it said. So anywho, if you don't know what I'm doing, I talked about that at the beginning of the video. I used the same straw that I used last week because, I wash them out with really hot water and I set them up to dry. Well, I didn't test it out before I came up to my yarn studio, and I think there's a hole in it because every time I try to get a sip of coffee, So I guess it's a day to, you know, just go with the flow. All right, the last thing we're going to do before I let you go. Oh, how funny. It's been a really funny day, hasn't it? All righty. So, um, I'm not sure what Rita's talking about. I looked it up and the P on the letter P on the yes. What you don't know is acrylic yarn is made from petroleum oil. That's why the cost of acrylic yarn has gone up. That's what that's talking about. And you don't want to dry clean acrylic yarn. That's what that one has to do with. Thank you, Rita. She's the best. I tell you what, Rita has helped me so much in our, and you need to come and join us, PPD Puppy Love Crochet group on Facebook. We have a lot of fun in there. We just have fun, and it's a great group of encouraging and fun people. And if you want to be encouraged and just around a bunch of happy fun people, come on over to PPD Puppy Love Crochet group. Now, you'll have to answer the 3 questions first before you get in. But once you get in, we'll love you to pieces. And Rita's been a big help in that group. I couldn't do it without her. She takes care of probably most of it. I'm developing a tickle, but it's not going to stop me. All right, let's talk about new patterns this week. First, we did these fun baskets. And I just love them. They're similar to the stitch that we did called Tulips in a Row. We did it just a little bit different. The regular pattern on the tulips, you're doing a 3 double crochet cluster. On this one, we did a 2. And that's because we're using 2 strands of an acrylic yarn. And I wanted to do that in order to make these baskets nice and sturdy and stand up on their own. This one is traditional colors, of course. Yellows and pinks. And this one's my favorite because I wanted to do it to make it look a little bit like wicker brown and then have the purple ones. So I love those. We did those this week. Again, that is a written pattern, pictures, and on YouTube. We're trying to do that with all of our patterns now. We're trying to have a written pattern with pictures and a video to go with it. Because some people like a written pattern, some people like pictures, and some people like a video, and some people like me like it all. The other thing we did were these, and I had so much fun with this pattern because it's so pretty, and that is our spring flower doilies. And they measure about 12 by 12, so you can even use them for a small placemat. That's the teal one. We did a yellow one, and then we did this pink one. I love them all. I think I'm going to make another one in purple, so I have a set of 4 for a placemat. And even though these are spring, they're perfect for summer too. And I'm going to use these, I think, out on my deck, on my table. My husband and I like to have dinner out there when the weather gets nice. And so we can use these, and they're super pretty. And I know that little flower, you know, it looks a little bit complicated, but it's really not. It's not hard at all. At all. And you can make these out of cotton, acrylic, or whatever you want. I wanted to do acrylic because I wanted to be able to just throw them in the wash. Plus, I like these colors. All right, the other thing we did is super duper fun. You can see there's one behind my head back there. Easter egg bunny. Well, I came up with this idea because I wanted to do a new Easter egg hot pad. Isn't that cute? That's an Easter bunny. And then we did a matching chickie. That's cute. All right, so I'm going to show them down here. That light's blinking on them a little bit for some reason. There we go. I want you to see these because they're just super duper cute. Look at those little faces. I was looking at this and I thought, my bunny looks mad. So anyway, these are so much fun because you can make them like this for decorations. You can make them out of cotton. And the other thing you can do is you can put 2 of them together and make it double thick. And I thought it would be really cute to put a chick on one side and a bunny on the other. And the other thing you can do is before you add the single crochet row around, you can add it around, you can stuff it and finish with that single crochet row and make a little stuffy. And again, you could do a chick on one side and a bunny on the other. It's just, there's just so much fun things you can do with this. And it stitches up really, really quick. And they're fun. I'm going to use mine more as decorations, but I love to give you lots of options of different things that you can do with my patterns. Okay, so now I do want to reiterate this. I say this all the time. When you're making hot pads, these can be used to set on the table and take something hot out of the oven and set on them. But always use cotton or a yarn that's not going to burn if you're going to use them as actual hot pads. All right, acrylic, we've already established, is made from petroleum oil, and it burns like plastic. And there's nothing more frustrating than to make something super duper cute like these and burn them or burn yourself, okay? So if you're going to use them as a decoration like I am, you can see I got one back there, then acrylic or acrylic blend is fine. But if you're going to use them as an actual hot something, you're going to use your other hot pads and put a hot casserole on there or a hot pot, use cotton. And if you want to make it extra sturdy, make two and stitch them together. All right? So that's a lot of fun. And it was kind of funny because I was going through, because you know I take out my calendar and I try to plan months in advance. And I had not noticed that Easter was April 4th. And I thought, oh my goodness, I have got all my Easter projects after Easter. And so I had to rewrite everything. And because I want to make sure I got my Easter projects before Easter. Easter comes so early this year. It's like a week or two early, isn't it? But, you know, we have to, it goes with the, what is that, the solstice? Is that what they call that? But anyway, I was not expecting it. So that's why we had 3 Easter projects really fast. Tomorrow I am planning on doing the spring into summer wrap. And I love that wrap. It's so pretty. And I already have the pattern written. And if you go to like Ravelry, you'll find it there. Hang on 2 seconds. Because the pattern I wrote a few years ago, but the yarn that I used for it, that particular color, is no longer available. And so I'm updating the pattern with a new yarn, some new colors, and we'll have that out tomorrow. And then on Friday, I'm planning on doing the Easter Bunny and Easter Chick dog bandanas. And these are super cute. It's super easy. And any dog or cat, or even you, can wear them. It's a really super simple adjustable pattern. So anyway, or anywho, what a day, huh? You know what's so funny is I got up extra early and I checked everything. Every now and then my microphone has a buzz. And so I check everything. I check my settings. I have everything perfect, I think. And then Facebook throws a wrench in it. But that's okay. We still got together. We still got to have our video. And I just want to thank all of you who tune in. All of you who watch on Facebook and follow me on Facebook. I want to thank all of you who, you know, follow and watch on YouTube. And I know I say this over and over again, but really, I can't do any of this without all of you. I can't. Because you're the ones who are viewing, you're the ones who are making the fun patterns. And don't forget how much I love to see your crochet creations. And not just my patterns either. If you make something, feel free to post the pictures in the PPD, Puppy Love Crochet group on Facebook. And if it's a free pattern, you can always post a link as well. Okay? I love to post other designers' free pattern links so that you can find them and do their patterns as well. All right, but I do really want to see your pictures of your new hot pads and doilies and baskets for Easter. And a lot of these things aren't just Easter. I mean, this is spring and summer, right? And the same thing with these doilies, because I love spring. Spring is my favorite time of year. And that's because to me, it's like a time of refreshing. You know, of course, I've still got, 3 feet of snow in my front yard. It was so funny yesterday. I was taking the dogs out about 10:30 in the morning, and I look out and it looks like there's a person laying down at the end of my driveway, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." So I grab my phone and I go running out there, and actually it was my mailbox. Someone had come around the corner and hit our mailbox, and because we live out in the country, it's a dirt road. We still have a lot of snow. I got about 3.5 feet of snow in my front yard, and we're supposed to get more this evening. It just keeps snowing. But one thing people don't know is that March is the snowiest month in this area. And it's real important that we get this snow because we go long periods of time in the summer where we don't get any rain. And so we need that snow for water. But a lot of people don't know that spring is our snowiest season. But that's okay. I don't mind. All right, so I'm going to let you go. And hopefully next week we won't have any issues. And so on that note, happy spring, and I'll see you next week.